and check out our list of movies that every cat lover will love. All this and much more with me, Isha Hanspal, at these times only on WION eClub.
The biggest gathering of humanity on the planet.
This is quite an interesting spot.
WION brings you exclusive coverage from the ground of the Maha Kumbh Mela.
These bikes will be patrolling all around.
From security to infrastructure, from tent city to Sangam, we've got you covered. This is Triveni Sangam, where Ganga, Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati rivers meet. Experience faith. Experience culture.
Tent as well.
Experience Maha Kumbh. Only on WION. World is one. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Amid escalating violence in the eastern regions of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Congolese army announces significant military gains against the M23 rebel group, with Rwanda's Paul Kagame calling for dialogue. Benin celebrates Vodun Days, a festival centered around the arts, culture and spirituality of the voodoo cult, where women are the mainstay of the festivities. And Senegal aims to promote their culture using toys like traditional wrestler figurines or dolls that come in a wide range of skin tones, including albino. That's this week on World of Africa. At these times on WION, World is one.
Those were the visuals of the vibrant harvest festivals that were celebrated across India this week. Hello there and welcome to Inside South Asia with me, Dasani Athada, and let's take a look at what we have in store for you this week. between India and Bangladesh, despite already frayed ties, have taken center stage, this time with regards to border fencing and demarcation. Bangladesh has lashed out on India's border fencing and demarcation, noting that it severely undermines already frayed relations between the two countries. This comes at a time where India has raised security concerns. Here's more.
The India-Bangladesh border at Sukhdevpur in Malda, on the Indian side in West Bengal. Fencing work underway for several weeks has been stopped after Bangladesh raised objections. Local farmers in Malda say incursions from the Bangladeshi side are common here and often pose a security threat. The India-Bangladesh border, the longest international border in the world, over some 4,096 kilometers, runs along 5 Indian states: West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. 3,180 kilometers have been fenced so far. Challenges have arisen over construction of border fencing due to geographical and logistic concerns as well as political disputes. In carrying out fencing work, India points at rising smuggling, illegal activities and the security threat. Bangladesh views the fencing as a sign of distrust and hostility. Long-standing tensions on the border fencing issue expanded earlier this week. The Indian government summoned Bangladesh's envoy in New Delhi to convey that fencing work was being carried out as per protocol and agreements. This after Dhaka expressed deep concern to the Indian High Commissioner in Bangladesh. India sees Bangladesh's old anti-Sheikh Hasina agenda at work.
We made it very clear that India has been meticulously following all the border management agreements, all the border management coordinated plan between India and Bangladesh, and we've been meticulously following that. We have done nothing outside the plans. But it seems that the Bangladesh government has decided to make this a point of difficulty, a point of difference. And this is a worrying point because the border between India and Bangladesh is very heavily populated, very heavily frequented, and it is important for the two border guards, the border guarding forces, to show that it seems to be a deliberate ploy of the interim regime, which is not even, does not even have much legitimacy or constitutional validity. But they want to raise these issues. They're needling. They want to needle India on various issues, and maybe to show the people that, India is in the wrong on everything. Every agreement signed between Sheikh Hasina and the Indian government, it doesn't carry any weight. It's no good. These agreements are not good. They're not working. And we're going to, cancel all these agreements.
On the face of it, Bangladesh sees the fencing as contrary to the spirit of cooperation and partnership. Informal cross-border trade, though not always legal, is a significant part of the local economy in border areas. Bangladesh says fencing will harm local economies. India, on the other hand, justifies the fencing to curb illegal migration and security concerns, particularly in the context of insurgent activities and cross-border terrorism.
This issue has been there for a long time because of illegal activities at the border. The prime issue has always been cattle smuggling, that there are, huge gangs of people who indulge in this cattle smuggling. We do know that after 2014, the cattle smuggling had come down enormously because the movement of cattle within India, there were all kinds of restrictions and so on, so that, even the cattle could not reach the border so much. And this cattle smuggling had come down. But there's gold smuggling, which had become very, very prominent indeed. This very porous border between India and Bangladesh had become a big issue for drug smuggling. And that was a big issue. And then illegal trafficking of women and children. Then comes the issue of border fencing, which is the immediate issue which, where the Bangladesh government called in our High Commissioner and spoke about it.
Is Bangladesh then raising the issue only to cast a new shadow over former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's border deals with India? India has expressed confidence that talks at multiple levels will clear up mistrust. But can cracks that grow deeper by the day be fully repaired?
Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake was on a 4-day visit to China this week, and this visit comes right after President Dissanayake visited India last month to bolster Colombo-Delhi ties further. His visit to China is being closely watched by India as Sri Lanka and China further agree on investment and cooperation ties.
A red carpet welcome for the Sri Lankan President, Anura Kumara Dissanayake. This is AKD's first official visit to China since assuming office as President. Dissanayake's visit, part of a broader effort to strengthen ties with Beijing, comes at a time when Sri Lanka's foreign policy is under a watchful eye from multiple directions, particularly from its neighbor, India. Remember last month, he chose India for the first foreign visit of his tenure that set a positive shift in Colombo's foreign policies. A month later, he has pledged a new era in China-Sri Lanka ties. During his Beijing visit, President Dissanayake met with high-ranking Chinese officials, including President, to discuss a series of new infrastructure projects, investments in the digital economy, and potential partnerships under China's Belt and Road Initiative.
I extend my welcome to you, President Dissanayake, for your state visit to China at the beginning of the new year. You are the first foreign head of state I have received so far this year. The high-quality cooperation between the two countries in joint construction of the Belt and Road, as well as their exchange and cooperation in various other fields, have achieved fruitful results, bringing tangible benefits to the people of both countries. At present, China-Sri Lanka relations are facing a historical opportunity of inheriting the past and ushering in the future. I would like to work with you to draw up a new vision for the development of bilateral relations and promote the China-Sri Lanka friendly cooperation to achieve new and greater success.
The Sri Lankan government has already outlined several new areas of cooperation with China, including the expansion of the strategically important Hambantota port, which has been leased to a Chinese company for 99 years, and the construction of a deep-sea port in the southern part of the island. For Sri Lanka, the relationship with China is critical. As a country recovering from decades of internal conflict and economic challenges, it has come to rely on Chinese capital for large-scale infrastructure projects that are essential for its growth. In return, Beijing is eager to extend its influence in the Indian Ocean, a region crucial for global trade routes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sri Lanka admires China's significant development achievements in the fields of economy, science and technology, infrastructure, and other fields. The Sri Lankan government firmly adheres to the One China principle on various occasions. Over the past decades, the Chinese government has played an important role in Sri Lanka's economic and social development. We hope that this visit will enhance the well-being of the people of both countries and strengthen cooperation in various fields between the two sides.
However, India has expressed growing concern over the deepening ties between Colombo and Beijing. For New Delhi, Sri Lanka's embrace of China presents a potential security threat, given the proximity of Chinese-controlled infrastructure to its southern coastline. The possibility of Chinese military presence in Sri Lanka has been a topic of speculation, further heightening India's apprehensions. India has repeatedly cautioned Sri Lanka about the risks of becoming too dependent on China, warning that excessive Chinese influence could upset the delicate balance of power in the region. Sri Lanka has attempted to allay these concerns, emphasizing that it will not allow any foreign military presence on its soil and that its ties with China are purely economic. This delicate balancing act between courting Chinese investment and maintaining India's trust is one of the biggest tests for President Dissanayake. His trip to China serves as a reminder of how tightly the island's foreign policy is intertwined with the larger power struggle between two Asian giants.
Jammu and Kashmir got a big boost this week in terms of tourism as well as the government's all-weather connectivity plan across the valley and Ladakh. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the plan for the Zemor-Zonamrag tunnel that will boost connectivity and security ties in the area. The 6.4 kilometre long Sonamarg tunnel connects Sonamarg, a famous tourist destination, with Kangan town in central Kashmir's Gandabal district. The tunnel is situated at an altitude of more than 8,500 feet. The area is prone to snow avalanches in the winter, which cut off the Sonamarg road for most of the season. With this all-weather tunnel, that becomes a thing of the past. Starting from Srinagar, the Zemor tunnel is expected to connect to the Zojila tunnel, which is currently under construction, to reach the Kargil district in Ladakh. The completion of the Zojila tunnel will happen in the year 2028. Once the two tunnels are completed, travel between Srinagar to Ladakh will reduce to a fraction of the time that is currently being experienced. Post the launch, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed workers who enabled completion of the tunnel despite huge challenges, including an attack by terrorists. He lauded rapid development in India and reiterated his vision of making India a developed country by 2047.
आज भारत तरक्की की नई बुलंदी की तरफ बढ़ चला है। हर देशवासी 2047 तक भारत को डेवलप्ड नेशन बनाने में जुटा है। ये तभी हो सकता है जब हमारे देश का कोई भी हिस्सा, कोई भी परिवार तरक्की से, डेवलपमेंट से पीछे न छूटे।
Focusing our attention now onto Pakistan, where 26 million children are out of school, the highest in the world. Poverty is the biggest factor, coupled with poor infrastructure and underqualified teachers. The widening gap of access to education between the rich and the poor is now labeled education apartheid.
11-year-old Anisa Haroon spends her mornings in the fields, helping her parents with work on the ground to add to the family income. She's one of dozens of children in village Abdullah Got on the outskirts of Karachi, for whom this is what childhood has come to be about. Yet consider Anisa to be lucky, because she now spends the second half of her day in a classroom. Noticeable, however, is the fact that even in her young mind, there's a definite line between rich and poor.
They, children in the city, spend all their time studying, while we, on the other hand, also have to work. They have access to facilities that we don't, and unlike us, they don't have to work as laborers or in the fields.
Anisa's entry into school at the age of 7 was a negotiation between her parents and members of a non-profit organization working in the region. For the social workers, convincing parents of the benefits of education over working in the fields was an uphill task.
Some parents thought their children should work in the fields instead of studying, and earning money was given to be more valuable. However, the first thing we did was go door to door to make them understand that education is important and of value.
Numbers on the education front in Pakistan are worrying. A recently published report titled The Missing Third in Pakistan by the Pak Alliance for Maths and Science says nearly 36% of children between 5 and 16, that's about 25.3 million, are out of school. For children between 5 and 9 years, that number goes up to 51%. The report points out that a majority of out-of-school kids belong to economically weaker sections in rural areas. That's where the education apartheid aspect comes in. Government-funded public schools do offer free education, but struggle with limited resources and overcrowding. Public schools that charge up to several $100s remain out of reach. then infrastructure for basic education doesn't exist where it's needed, and government funding is weak.
हमारी प्रायोरिटी ही नहीं है बेसिकली एजुकेशन, बिकॉज चलें जब बच्चा छोटा है तो ऐसा लगता है कि माँ बाप थोड़ा सा प्रिविलेज देने.
Due to the economic crisis, education is no longer our Pakistan family's top priority, so children are forced to become the primary breadwinners, whether they want to or not. As a result, leaving school becomes the first option.
हायर सेकेंडरी पता नहीं कर पाता है नहीं कर पाता वो बच्चा, मतलब एक फोर्स है उसके ऊपर कि उसको अपनी फैमिली के लिए अर्न करना है.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif had declared an education emergency last year, assuring an increase in the education budget from 1.7% of GDP to 4% over the next 5 years. For the foreseeable future, though, for thousands of children working in the fields for whom making ends meet is priority, education making inroads remains a far cry.
Let's now take a look at the world's largest religious gathering, the Maha Kumbh, which is in full swing in Prayagraj. Hundreds of thousands of devotees gathered at Triveni Sangam despite freezing temperatures for a holy dip at Triveni Sangam, the holy confluence of Yamuna, Ganga and Saraswati.
It's the world's biggest religious gathering. For many, it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This is Maha Kumbh 2025. As the festival kick-started on the 13th of January, devotees thronged to the Triveni Sangam, the confluence of three sacred rivers, the Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. It is believed that taking a holy dip in the river during this time washes away sins and liberates one from the cycle of life and death. On day one, 17 million people took the holy bath.
We are on the banks of the river Ganga at Triveni Sangam in Prayagraj for the opening day of the Maha Kumbh Mela 2025, and there are hundreds of thousands of people that have come here to bathe in the river at Triveni Sangam.
Amazing. India is a spiritual heart of the world. So I'm very happy. First time in India, I go Varanasi, then I come here.
Three, 1, 2, 3.
Really?
10 din.
And how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
No, 1, 2,
7.
3 tak.
3 times.
3 tak ka snan kiya.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
On day 2, on the occasion of Makar Sankranti, over 35 million people took the holy bath during the first Amrit Snan. Akhadas, the ancient orders of seers, led the sacred bathing ritual.
I feel that it's very peaceful. I feel even with a lot of people, you know, every people is pulsing, you know, the Kumbh Mela. We can really feel the Kumbh Mela inside the bodies, you know.
The day started with really big processions. There were groups with multiple akhadas in there, and we saw thousands, if not tens of thousands of devotees, saints and gurus make their way down to the Sangam for a holy dip. As the day progressed, we were seeing that the groups were getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're kind of teetering out now, where it feels like the day is concluding with a more calm atmosphere. It was very hectic early in the day. One interesting thing we spotted was a helicopter making circles around Triveni Sangam, dropping flower petals that were raining down on everybody who was standing here. क्या नाम क्या है?
महाराज ब्रह्मानंद है, महाकाल का साधक है, हम तारा माँ का साधक है और कामाख्या माँ का साधक है।
और आप कुंभ कैसा लगता है?
बड़ी अच्छा लगता है। कुंभ मेला तो एकदम पूरा बड़ा मेला है, सबसे भारत का सबसे बड़ा मेला है। 144 साल बाद ये वाला जोग गिरा है। हर कोना कोना से भारत का या पृथ्वी का हर कोना कोना से सब आता है। जय महाकाल की जय, जय महाकाल की जय, जय महाकाल की जय।
This monumental event will continue till the 26th of February and is expected to surpass 400 million attendees in the next 6 weeks.
India marked its 77th Army Day this week. From robotic dogs that took center stage to a Nepali band making its debut, here's a look at some of the highlights.
हमारे साथ है नेपाल आर्मी का बैंड। दोस्ती की मिठास को अनुभव कीजिए। लेफ्टिनेंट कर्नल अनिल की अध्यक्षता और मेजर बिमल कार्की के निर्देशन में।
And that's all we have for you on our show this week. Before we leave, take a look at the popular and dangerous bull taming exercise known as Jallikattu that took place in the Madurai city in India in line with Pongal celebrations. For the WION team, I'm Dasani Athada and I will see you next week.
Amid escalating violence in the eastern regions of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Congolese army announces significant military gains against the M23 rebel group, with Rwanda's Paul Kagame calling for dialogue. Benin celebrates Vodun Days, a festival centered around the arts, culture and spirituality of the voodoo cult, where women are the mainstay of the festivities. And Senegal aims to promote their culture using toys like traditional wrestler figurines or dolls that come in a wide range of skin tones, including albino. That's this week on World of Africa. At these times on WION, World is One.
After 15 months of relentless conflict, a breakthrough moment. Israel and Hamas reach a historic ceasefire hostage deal.
After 8 months of non-stop negotiation, my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas.
World leaders unite to welcome a fragile but hopeful peace. A deal that could reshape the future of the region. The joy, the relief, the promise of a new beginning. Tune in for in-depth coverage only on WION.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at yowan.com.
The biggest gathering of humanity on the planet.
This is quite an interesting spot.
WION brings you exclusive coverage from the ground of the Maha Kumbh Mela.
These bikes will be patrolling all around.
From security to infrastructure, from tent city to Sangam, we've got you covered. This is Triveni Sangam, where Ganga, Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati rivers meet. Experience faith. Experience culture.
Tent as well.
Experience Maha Kumbh. Only on WION. World is one.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
As California wildfires continue to wreak havoc, we tell you all about its impact on Hollywood. Know why the Monkey King is gaining prominence on social media. And check out our list of movies that every cat lover will love. All this and much more with me, Isha Hanspal, at these times only on WION eClub.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions.